today from the New Revised Standard Version, updated edition. The first reading is Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Do not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by the renewing of the mind, so that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. From the third chapter of Colossians, verses 23 and 24. Whatever task you must do, work as if your soul depends on it, as for the Lord and not for humans, since you know that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You serve the Lord Christ. The 16th chapter of Matthew, verse 26. For what will it profit them if they gain the whole world but forfeit their life? Or what will they give in return for their life? The 7th chapter of Ecclesiastes, verse 10. Do not say, why were the former days better than these? For it is not from wisdom that you ask this.
Thanks for reading those, Carolyn. That was great. And Karen, thanks for the introduction. I think that sets things up pretty well. I didn't even realize the theme about the younger and the older self, but it's definitely there. All right, so I will be reading Johnny Costello, but I'll also be functioning as the narrator of the piece. And don't worry, this isn't about bombing countries or something. It's the name of a character. I was inspired by Leave It to Beaver, which was one of my all-time favorite TV shows. And later in the early 80s, they brought Beaver back, and it was called Still the Beaver. And he was pretty much still the same guy he was on the show. So I decided to update it to the late 80s, and Johnny Costello is trapped in having to conform to who its character was on this past very successful TV show called Still the Bomber. Well, called The Bomber originally, and now Still the Bomber has come out later. All right, scene 1. Small ranch house, kitchen, a glass of orange juice on the table, abandoned cold eggs and remains of bacon on a plate, mobile phone buzzing. Johnny Costello, 50, picks it up, looks at the name, and reluctantly answers. Downstage left in a posh office chair is Mary Legrand, producer of Still the Bomber.
Hey, bro, you haven't signed your contract yet for this year. This is just a gentle nudge, just a reminder.
I'm not sure I want to.
Bro, the show is a hit. We've got 6 left in the can, and we got to shoot some more. Did you see the headlines in USA Today? The Bomber is back. And the Hollywood Reporter says, Boffo Biz for Netflix.
Look, I thought I was returning to quality television, not some lame-ass sitcom.
Lame-ass sitcom. My daughters love the show. They think it's so cute. All of those diets you're constantly going on that never work. You know, you start the day measuring out your oatmeal, and for lunch you have 6 ounces of zucchini, a 1/4 pound of microwave chicken, and a single Chips Ahoy cookie. But then at dinner, all the stress of the day has built up, and you have a bowl of pasta, some broccoli, and the rest of the bag of Chips Ahoy cookies. It's hilarious.
The show should highlight me facing new issues, new problems. It says the same old problems, only now I'm 50 and I'm playing the same character I was at 13, 14, and 15.
Thus the title, Still the Bomber. That's what people love, the stuntedness. You never grew up. Only now your father is dead, and you're divorced, and you've got a 15-year-old kid giving you advice. Hilarious.
I want better scripts.
Better? Bro, you know I don't think actors always know what parts are best for them. You are tailor-made for the bomber, because he's always bombing out. That's his thing, his narrative arc, the spine of his character. his super objective. Look, I don't mean to get personal, but you've had 2 failed marriages. You've been in AA for 17 years. You're sober now. Bless you. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, bro. But you're sort of estranged from your 15-year-old daughter. Face it, you are the bomber.
Okay. Why don't we make that part of the scripts? That's real. A character struggling with alcohol, being a single parent, struggling with raising a child.
Struggling, yes, but we don't want wallowing, bro. Leave that to the country musicians and the pickup trucks and the dogs who really understand them. I thought all that diet stuff was top-notch comedy.
Oh, come on. It was fat shaming.
Okay, the show's not woke, but that's what the people want. Retro. Screw woke. We're number 6 in streaming. You know what I always say? Go woke, get broke.
Maybe have the bomber attend AA meetings.
That's too depressing, bro. Too depressing. People want to see you take a girl to an action movie that she finds offensive. You know, something with maybe the N-word thrown around. She's woke and you're not. It's opposites. Comic fireworks.
I want to see growth, change in me, change in my character.
Consistency. That's what people pay to see. Consistency, bro.
You're not listening to me. I'm not happy.
So what are you saying? You're not going to sign?
I want changes. I want to take the character and the show in a new direction.
This ain't PBS, brother. We're not in the education business. We're in the entertainment biz. Besides dinner theater and guest appearances on game shows, what have you done in the past 7 years? I'll tell you, nothing. You're living off the residuals of the bomber.
I'm not signing.
I don't think I heard that. Operator.
Mary bangs landline phone on the table. Mary, come on. Enough with the jokes.
I can't hear you, bro. I got a bad connection here.
Bangs phone some more.
I'll call you back in an hour. I got a meeting to get to with some writers. They have no idea what makes a good script.
Blackout. Scene 2. Same place, an hour later. Alice, Johnny's girlfriend, 35, rubs his shoulders as he sits at the table working on a New York Times crossword.
So he hasn't called back?
You see me pick up my phone?
Don't take it out on me.
Okay. Alice sits down.
I know it's been frustrating.
Sorry, I just don't think a middle-aged man should be stuck in adolescence. You know what's really frustrating? People eat up all this pap that we've been throwing at them. What a bunch of schlock.
Not all people, a certain demographic.
The hillbilly elegy crowd?
Liberals liked hillbilly elegy. People from Appalachia aren't so fond of J.D. Vance.
Alice tops off his coffee. No work today?
I'll go in at noon. I don't have any clients booked until 1:30. Tuesdays are always slow.
Why is that?
I don't know.
But you see, that's the point. I ask those kinds of questions. Why not Wednesday? Why isn't Wednesday the slow day, hump day? No, it's Tuesday that's slow. That's interesting. The bomber never asks those questions. He just accepts his lot in life. The last script, the bomber takes a blind date to Burger World. The girl's a vegan, and she gets mad at him for eating a double cheese hamburger.
What a burger world could she possibly eat?
You didn't watch the episode?
I passed.
Well, she had a salad with candied pecans, and then she blasted it off like an ICBM, which she found out that a couple of the French fries that she nibbled off my plate were flavored with beef tallow.
Dreadful.
The show's a series of cliches rolled up into a stereotype. Sandra, Johnny's daughter, from his first marriage, wanders into the kitchen. She's scrolling through her phone.
What a rotten night I had.
I'm sorry, insomnia again?
Didn't you hear the scandal? Alice Monroe?
Yeah, what will cancel culture do? Burn her books in a trash can? I read in the Times that some already are. Others are demanding that she be stripped of her Nobel Prize.
As a proud Canadian, that really bums me out.
I know, honey. I know.
It's pretty awful what she did. She's a
great writer, a transcendent artist. She's transformed the short story genre.
She knew of her daughter's abuse and did nothing. Covered it up. Went back to the guy and then used the details of it in her own fiction. I can't live without him.
It does get worse the more you read.
Roman Polanski was a great artist too, but someone should put 2 in his noggin.
2 in his noggin? And that's a bit harsh.
Some of my clients who loved Rowling as a kid won't read her now. Her deeply offensive views on trans people.
Dad, Monroe literally turned her daughter's account of abuse into a story which she published less than a year later.
I have a lot of ambivalence.
She published it in the New Yorker.
Do you know how many stories she's published? One sideways turn about her daughter can't dismiss all the other great stories. Tons of great stories.
Sideways turn? Damn her forever.
Art is bigger than the person. Always is, always will be.
Oh my God, that's the worst take ever, Dad. Don't you care about what happened?
I care, but I also care about art and books and how beautiful things can change lives.
Beautiful things? You're sounding like a boomer.
I'm a Gen Xer.
When did you get so old? We're talking about real people here, not art in the abstract.
And you're leaning into that whole cancel culture thing. People must be accountable, accountable judgments. That is part of your generation.
Screw that, Dad. Art is bigger than the person. Monroe turned her daughter's experience into art for the whole world to see.
One story out of tons of great stories. You know, your attempt at controlling what I read and what I enjoy, that's equivalent to 1950s McCarthyism and blacklists.
You're horrific. You are so far out of your element. I can't believe you right now.
Okay, that'll be enough.
Sandra stomps off to her room.
I'm sorry that conversation ever happened.
Monroe is amazing. The way she plays with time, she tells stories, gets to the dark shadows in all of us.
I think the McCarthyism crack was maybe a bridge too far.
Blackout. Scene 3, 45 minutes later. Johnny looking at his phone. He still hasn't called. Alice says nothing. She, text you or anything?
Yes,
And?
I think you should talk to her,
I love Monroe.
as do I. I was so proud when she won the Nobel, a Canadian, the first Canadian. Yet the Canadian media knew about the scandal years ago, but they kept quiet, covered it up.
Well, that's what people did back then. I'm not saying it's right, but they saw it as a private thing.
They were protecting her legacy. They were complicit in their silence.
Yeah. Picks up his phone, calls. She's not picking up.
Leave her a message.
Dials again, holds phone, stares at it. I can't leave a message. That's lame.
Al, honey, don't say lame. That's ableist language.
Oh, come on. Lame, it's just a word.
Your boomer is showing.
Calls again. Hey, hun, I apologize. The McCarthy thing, I should never have said that. You're not like that bozo from Wisconsin at all. I was the bozo. I just really like Monroe. She's been a favorite writer of mine since 1991. I read her first in high school. It's hard to let go of her, and it's just hard. Pause, places mobile phone back on the table. I can just imagine what she's going to say to her mother about her old man.
You're not that old,
Thanks.
Methuselah. I just want to give a little context to Sandra's feelings. I never shared this with no one. Never.
Pause. Johnny expects something unexpected.
When
Yeah.
I was 14, I babysat for this family that lived on a hill. The rich exurbs of Peterborough.
Uh-huh.
And I hated when the husband drove me home. He'd pull over and tell me things, intimate things about his wife Sharon's needs, desires. And he'd touch me.
How often did this happen?
4 or 5. Why is it men always want to know how often?
I'm sorry, I just want to punch this guy out.
It was years ago, and you're a Mennonite.
You never talked about this. You're right, yeah, I'm a Mennonite, yes. Did I tell you I want to punch this guy out?
He's dead.
Good. Whatever made you tell Sandra about this?
She took a careers test at school, and it was recommended that she become a social worker or a therapist. So she asked me what I liked about the job, why I became a therapist, and I told her. I didn't plan to, it just happened, a moment between us.
Yeah. Johnny picks up his phone and looks at it. Sandra enters.
Dad, I said some things that I shouldn't have to.
Like my being old?
Well, you are that. No, I know you care about people. You care about me. You,
He loves you.
yeah, that.
Sandra smiles. Johnny gets out of his chair. They hug. His phone buzzes on the table. Johnny picks it up. Lights up downstage. Murray in a posh chair smoking a cigar.
So, bro, we start shooting next week.
You do. I didn't say that I did. And I didn't say I was going to sign. And I tell you, bro, I'm not signing unless changes are made.
Changes. Come on, leave the writing to the writers.
I mean, I got an idea for a real story. Do you remember the bomber episode from season 2 where his drunk uncle stays with the family for a month?
Yeah, I remember that. He steals from your dad and uses his credit card to buy tickets to a Queen concert.
Right. Now, what if the uncle abused the bomber?
Abused. Like,
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Don't start going PBS on me again.
What if we write a series of episodes about painful memory flashbacks and the bomb dealing with what he couldn't talk about then and now?
Are you nuts? Remember your base, your fans. The episodes about eating hamburgers and trying to lose weight and driving a gas-guzzling muscle car and getting hit by a hybrid you didn't even hear.
I'm not signing.
A story about an uncle who no way. I know numbers, and that's a bad number. So I'll see you Tuesday on stage 14.
What's that? I can't hear you. Operator.
You have a mobile phone. What operator?
I
are you talking
can't
about?
hear too well. Call me back when you can really listen and we can listen to each other. Operator. Blackout.